Chapter 24. 1 month later, Smil met Talon outside the gates of Palanthus. Talon looked exactly the same in her blue robes, with the medallion of Mishkael and half of the star jewel around her neck. Smil touched her own star jewel and smiled. "You still wear that?" she asked as Talon came closer. "I would think you would fling that as far away as your arm could throw." "What about you?" Talon asked, grinning. "You could fly to the farthest reaches of Corinne and drop that in the deepest ocean." "It looks good against my bronze scales," Samil said, coiling her tail about her. "Well, tell me what happened with Rogan." "He was going to face a disciplinary council, but Rama was able to convince him that he was truly mad and would be better at home, locked up." Talon grinned. Samil smiled. "Glad to hear it. There are no other heirs of human I need to worry about then." Talon looked at the ground and shook her head. "After Rogan revealed himself to be mad, and I admitted I was wrong, no one wanted to follow us anyway." She pushed her black braids off her face and looked Smil straight in the eye. "I don't mind. At least not very much." "I'm glad. There are other things you could be doing, like coming in with me." Smil knelt before Talon. "Climb!" Talon shrank back. I can't. I'm supposed to meet with Ellison this afternoon. I'm speaking to a class of acolytes about our adventures. Let my misfortune teach others, Ellison says. "It won't take long," Samil insisted. "Please, there's something that I want to show you." Talon wavered. "Can you have me back in time? What if I fall off?" "Can you trust the bronze dragon?" Samil said, further flattening herself so Talon would not have far to climb. "Bronze? I thought you were copper." Talon ducked as Samil swung her tail over her head. Laughing, she climbed onto Samil's back. Samil could still feel Talon shaking even once she quit laughing, so her fear of flying must still grip her. Well, there was no better way to get over a fear than by facing it head on. "Hold tight," Samil said. Then she was running swiftly down the road from the gates of Palanthus. "Watch out for that wagon!" Talon yelled, gripping Samil tight about the neck. Samil pushed with her hind legs and they were flying up into the sky. She didn't fly very high so Talon wouldn't feel sick, but rather skimmed about the length of an adult dragon above the ground. "Are we there yet?" Talon asked above the wind. "I'm not looking." "Open your eyes, silly girl," Samil said, "or I'll plunk you down right now and you can walk the rest of the way." Samil felt rather than heard Talon gasp. "It's so beautiful!" the girl cried. "No wonder you miss flying." Samil gazed at the land. She had missed flying, and now took to the skies as often as she could. She circled lazily back to over Palanthus so Talon could see. "Everything is so perfect," Talon said, leaning over Samil's neck so she could see better. "Look at the circles the roads and buildings make." She then looked up ahead. "And the mountains! I can see so much further from here." Samil followed the coastline to her home, then landed slowly so as not to jar Talon. The girl hopped off almost as soon as Samil's feet touched the ground. "That was amazing!" Talon skipped around Samil's side and gave her a hug around one leg. "Thank you!" "No," Samil said, lowering her head and resting it lightly on Talon's head. "Thank you for coming." "Why did you want me to come back here?" Talon asked. "Your mother isn't hurt again, is she?" "No, not at all," Samil said. "We're having a special ceremony today, and I wanted you to attend." "Just me?" Talon asked. "Just you," Samil said. "I like Elred and Rama, but this is something that I only wanted to share with my closest friend." Talon opened her mouth as if to speak, but Samil motioned for her to be quiet. This was to be a silent event. They walked up to the topmost part of the mountain, where the trees' limbs grew only to one side because of strong winds. Here the rocks were white and sparkled in the sunlight. Talon turned about in all directions. "You can see everything up here," she said. "It's almost as good as flying." "That's why we chose this spot," called Mother. Samil's parents flew above them, blotting out the sun. In slow, lazy circles they landed before Samil and Talon. "Where's Uncle Numar?" Samil asked. "He was supposed to be here." "Here? I'm here." Uncle Nuvar in human form ran up the hill, puffing heavily. He leaned against a rock and wiped his forehead. Talon looked at him, amused. "You could have flown here," she said. "Why take a human form?" "So you wouldn't be lonely, my dear," he said, bowing to her. Samil's parents wanted to be in their natural form for this, and Samil has yet to master transforming into a human. You, a human? Talon turned to Smil and looked the dragon up and down. Now that would be a sight to behold. Well, I already know what it feels like to be a human. At least partly, Smil said. Now I just need to learn how to look like one. You two can talk later, Smil's mother said. She then spoke a few words of magic, and there was a bright bronze flash that momentarily blinded everyone. When Smil's dazzled eyes returned to normal, she saw that Talon was standing in the middle of a circle of small dragons. She gasped, but not in fright, but in surprise. As her eyes adjusted, she realized that the dragons weren't moving. They were delicately carved bronze statues. Smil bent her head down to the statues. These were the most realistic statues she had ever seen. She expected them to move at any moment. They all were in different positions doing different things. Sleeping, jumping, trying to fly, eating, playing. The only thing that made them different from Smil and her parents were the eyes. There was no life in them. These are our children that were lost, said Smil's father. Smil's mother, Uncle Numar, and Smil looked skyward. Talon followed suit. We placed these statues here in memory of them. Smil's father inhaled sharply. We do not know their fate. They may have perished either in an attempt to make Draconians, or as Draconians in the war. They may still walk this land, but are lost to us forever. Wherever they may be, we ask that the Platinum Guide Dragon guard them forevermore. Smil's eyes stung. She moved away from Talon so her tears wouldn't hurt her. When they slowed, she moved back so she could lay her head lightly on top of Talon's. I never got to know them, Smil said, her jaw moving Talon's head up and down as she spoke. Now I know I never will. Talon ducked out from under Smil's head and turned to face her. I'm so sorry. Is there no way for them to be reclaimed if they're alive? Smil's father shook his head sadly. The good dragons try to find a way. I even heard rumors of dragons who trapped some Draconians and tried to use magic to change them back. It failed, and they were forced to kill their own children. The only way they could be saved would be if the demons from the abyss who the black-robed wizards called up didn't join with the eggs, which I've only heard of once in the history of Draconians. How sad, Talon murmured, laying a hand on the statue of the sleeping bronze warbling. Smil knew that Talon was thinking of her brother killed by a copper dragon. Smil's siblings were stolen and corrupted. Which fate was worse? Whose pain was worse? Smil looked at Talon and her parents' sorrowful faces and decided it didn't matter. End of chapter 24.